Well, good Saturday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open and let's wake up the football guys. Wake up here this morning, guys. It is Saturday, man. We are just a day away from week 11 in full swing. I hope you guys all tune in for us because we're going to be watching, of course, the Eagles, seeing if they can actually save their season. This is actually a game that's actually going to have playoff implications. You know, I'm talking about
playoffs. Don't talk about playoffs.
Yeah, actually playoffs. New Orleans at 5-4 needs to kind of get themselves on track and get back in there to get back in the race. And if the Eagles can somehow get the upset over the New Orleans Saints, then all of a sudden at 5-6, you can't say that this season is over. So that game is critical. Then we have the Washington football team whose hopes of playoffs are literally on life support going against Ron Rivera's former team and Cam Newton. Ooh, that could be some fireworks. Both of those games kicking off at 1 o'clock. We'll be actually live streaming here. It was kind of cool last night. I had my brother from another mother, Law Nation, in the house, and we were talking about the Sunday stream, and he said, man, you're like ESPN, you know, your whole Sunday setup. He said, except you're credible. Okay. But we'll be, of course, following Washington. I think Rio Robinson, Washington football YouTuber, will be in the house. I believe DMV will be here. And I believe, of course, my main man, E2 Blue, with the comedy. He's the one that brought you Philly cream cheese. That's right, Philly cream cheese. So we'll be covering with the exclusive Meltdown Cam Philly 500 and seeing how he lives and dies with his team. And, of course, Rio, let's see if they get a victory over Cam Newton, because that's going to be a fun game to watch. Because I looked at Carolina, the energy, it wasn't so much the play on the field that Cam was doing was great, because you could see he's rusty. He hasn't played all season. But you could see the momentum and the faith and the elevation of the team around him, literally rallying around him. And I believe that that carries over. And sometimes in football, you just need that little bitty edge. And for Carolina, that's 5-6. They get a win here. All of a sudden, you have to start talking about
playoffs. Don't talk
yeah,
about playoffs.
Playoffs.
You kidding me?
Don't talk about playoffs, but seriously, you have to talk about them with playoffs. Anyway, in the meantime, we have, of course, the premier game, the game that's covered just about everywhere in the country. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, we cannot wait for that one. I've got me racks and racks of ribs that we're going to be doing Kansas City barbecue. We're going to be doing cheesy corn. We're going to be doing baked beans and everything else. We are going to have a party like always for the game. Unfortunately, Amari Cooper won't be playing the next 2 weeks because of COVID, and he is not vaccinated. So that means he's out for a minimum of 10 days. The fortunate thing for the Dallas Cowboys is this. The Dallas Cowboys are blessed to have more depth than anybody else. To think that we went without Michael Gallup for 7 weeks, he just gets back. It's like, okay, it's your turn to go ahead, Amari, to take a couple of games off. In some regards, this is great for the Cowboys. One, you know he's been dealing with a hamstring that's been a little sore. We know he's been a little bit sore on that. So this will give it a little time to heal up to go for the stretch run. You know, you get week 11 and week 12 out the way. Then we got 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 week. And then we're talking about
playoffs.
Yeah, playoffs. So it'll give him some rest for the run. And in other regards, this is actually an opportunity for the Dallas Cowboys to do some more experimenting. When you think about the Cowboys, part of the problem for the Cowboys going forward to next year is we are already way over the cap. We are way over the cap, and we have a lot of players that are on the end of their deals. Michael Gallup, he's on the last year of his deal. Connor Williams on the last year of his deal. Randy Gregory, You know, you think about all the free agents like Brett Urban and DeMontre Kazee and Joseph Hooker and Keanu O'Neal, you know, and Van Der Esch. We have a lot of players that we have to decide who do we want to hold on to. And you also have to look at things beyond just saying their play on the field, also versus what does it cost to keep them. And see, for the Cowboys, Michael Gallup being hurt gave them a window on what it's like without Michael Gallup. Cedric Wilson played really good. And you looked at it and said, okay, well, with Amari Cooper and with CeeDee Lamb, you don't have to have the greatest wide receiver out there. You can see Cedric Wilson did some damage. Is Cedric Wilson as good as Michael Gallup? No. But with Cedric Wilson, Amari Cooper, and CeeDee Lamb, the Cowboys have the number one offense. So you look and say, well, Michael Gallup may be $12 to $14 million. Are we better spending $12 to $14 million on Amari Cooper? Or do we look at this and say, we can take that money and we can keep a Kazee and maybe a Randy Gregory and some other players and get by with somebody that's lesser? It's not ideal. You want to just say, I want to keep that guy, that guy, that guy, that guy. But the reality is you cannot. And one of the problems for the Cowboys has been is they've paid players and then didn't get the return on it. They gave the contract to, unfortunately, Tony Romo. Tony Romo's body betrayed him. They gave the contract to Des Bryant. Unfortunately, Des Bryant's body betrayed him. You can look at guys like Terrence Newman. You can look at guys like, Roy Williams. You can look down the road and say they've been better off letting them go as free agents and getting compensatory picks than paying them the big contracts. The Cowboys have filled in holes admirably with guys that were cheaper. That doesn't always work, but as you look around and say, is the Seattle Seahawks a better team because they traded 2 number ones and a third or whatever it was to get Jamal Adams for their defense? Their defense is still terrible. And now you can't get those other players. That's 3 players that could be potentially starters on the team. So now the Cowboys get the reverse. They end up being able to look and saying, okay, Amari Cooper is a $22 million hit next year. What is life without Amari Cooper? How does this offense work if we say, let's sign Michael Gallup for $12 million, save $10 million, and we make CD the number one with Cedric Wilson? You can now actually look and say, this is what we'll get with Amari Cooper gone. If we make CD the number one, we bring back Michael Gallup. This is actually a good thing for the team to make decisions for the future. It's good for the team because now Michael Gallup has gotten some rest. He doesn't have the wear and tear on him. And now Amari Cooper can kind of get some rest and get ready for the stretch run. And by no means am I saying the Cowboys should get rid of Amari Cooper or the Cowboys shouldn't re-sign Michael Gallup. I'm pointing out to you the decisions that the Cowboys have to make, but they have now some data to go along with it. Because here's the thing, the kicker that I'm going to give for you guys. If we go back and we party like it's 1995, and I love this mix. I love this mix. Although the last time I used this mix, we lost to Denver. I played it the morning of, but this is a mix by my man, Ron Oliver. I said, I want to party, and maybe I need to use this after the games, but party like it's 1995. Back in the 90s, I know a lot of you guys are young and don't remember, but I tell you, one of the most dynamic receivers that we had, not the playmaker, Michael Irvin, it was Alvin Harper. Alvin Harper going across the middle was an absolute positive beast. He'd get in the slot and he would just go to the house. His numbers were insane. Okay, let me flip over here. See if you guys can see this. 91, he was averaging 16.3 yards reception, right? 92, 16.1. 93, 21.6. 94, 24.9. You can look and say, man, Alvin Harper, that brother's good. Alvin Harper, you could say maybe he should be playing our number one. Maybe he's better than Michael Irvin. I mean, let's be clear here. 24.9 yards per average, 8 TDs, and he's not your number one wide receiver, 821 yards? My God, this guy is a beast. But what we found out was Alvin Harper, and DMV, don't get mad at me because DMV, he was a coach of DMV's at Howard. Love Alvin Harper. When free agency came around, Alvin Harper signed a big contract to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay said, my God, we want that guy, man, because he is freaking incredible. 24.9 yards per reception. Damn! He went to Tampa Bay, had to become the number one wide receiver, the guy. And what you find out a lot of times with free agents is it's not that they are a great, great player, so head and shoulders above everybody else, but the system and the players that they have around them. Alvin Harper was great because the Cowboys had Emmitt Smith and a great running attack. Alvin Harper was great because they had the security blanket of Jay Novacek. Alvin Harper was great because the playmaker, Michael Irvin, was always downtown. He wasn't the focal point and the guy that they had to say, we're going to have to stop you because you're the guy. You were the afterthought. And that became true once he went to Tampa Bay because his numbers went from 24.9 yards per completion and 8 TDs to 13.8 with only 2 in Tampa Bay. He lasted there for 2 years and went to Washington, and Washington said, hey, we'll get that guy. His final year with Washington, he had 2 receptions for 65 yards. So now, as fans will say, let Amari go. Well, Amari may not have the gaudy stats that you think he should because collectively the offense spreads the ball around so well. But Amari is that precise route runner and that guy who constantly teams focus on. And because they're focusing on him, it makes everybody else around them better. So now we find out what's the case with CD having to be the guy that everybody says we have to stop, as opposed to CD and Amari. We'll find out how is Michael Gallup as that number 2 receiver without CD, and how is Cedric Wilson in that mix without that other threat. This is a great way for the Dallas Cowboys to learn and start figuring out how they want to attack this offseason for their players. And one final thing we're going to do before we get out of here, you have to be, with the NFL and with the different sports shows and things like that, I always like to listen to the sports shows because, one, I like to hear the bullshit that they're showing you and let you know that what you're getting, it's reality TV. Yeah, let's be clear. How is it that every show that everybody is always on the exact opposite side of the argument? They truly have polarizing opposite views on every single thing. The second thing is it always seems to be a narrative that is the same throughout the shows. Right now, it seems that the narrative is the Cowboys are great. And this could be the thing of, let's go ahead and, if the Cowboys are great and they stay great, well, then we look like we actually know what we're talking about. If we say the Cowboys are great, they lose, now we can say they're frauds. See, they were the best team in football, and they lost the game to Kansas. That's the game that they play because in the end, it's all about getting you to watch. I like to go through, let you know that, if you're banking of your football knowledge on everything that you see in ESPN, understand ESPN, not just ESPN, don't let me piss off ESPN. Understand that what you get throughout them is kind of the same thing. Don't use it with rose-colored glasses. Understand and do your research to come up with your own conclusions as well. But we're talking about Stephen A. Smith, and this is a hard one because if you show anything ESPN, it's going to get blocked. So I'm actually just going to play the audio from yesterday, Tim Tebow and Stephen A. Smith talking about the Cowboys versus Kansas City. It may end up being blocked, so if it's not in here and it's short, then that's because it got blocked. But it's kind of interesting here. Let's listen in.
Now we're talking. See, Tim and I see eye to eye. Welcome to the party. Who's the better team right now, Stephen A.? Chiefs or Cowboys?
Unfortunately, it's the Cowboys, Tim Tebow. It's the Cowboys right now. I mean,
did that hurt?
That hurt.
It hurt. It hurt
Well,
bad.
good for me. It warmed up my spirit.
But I will confess this. It's just for now. I mean, when it really, really counts, that ain't going to be the case. But for now, the Dallas Cowboys clearly are the better team. Dak Prescott is playing better than Patrick Mahomes this year. Obviously, their running game with Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard is far more effective than the Kansas City Chiefs, who are devoid of much of a running game. Even though Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, I believe in those brothers. We've seen what Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb have been doing all season long. Guys like Wilson and Schultz have stepped up on the defensive side without the likes of DeMarcus Lawrence or of Randy Gregory. You still had, Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs and those boys stepping up. You look at the Dallas Cowboys, and I don't think there's any question that when you compare them with the Kansas City Chiefs and how sporadic the Kansas City Chiefs were, I definitely don't believe you can give the Kansas City Chiefs the edge. I definitely don't think you can look at them as the better team thus far in the 2021 season.
But Stephen A., that's not the question. The question is not who's been most consistent. It's not who's been more sporadic. It's right now. And if you look at the way the Kansas City Chiefs played the other night, that is a team that could beat anybody in the NFL. They got too much firepower. Patrick Mahomes got his swagger back. Obviously, we heard Kelce got his swagger back. The defense played a lot better. That team can beat anybody. And if that team shows up, I think most analysts are going to pick that team to win. I really do.
Tim Tebow, that makes no sense.
How does that make no sense?
Let me tell you how. First of all, don't give me some swagger. Let's look at the Kansas City Chiefs, okay? They've won 3 straight. You beat the Giants. That don't count. That's damn near a bye.
Oh, we're getting Saquon Barkley back.
Yeah, but he ain't
Buckle
back
up.
yet. But he's not. He wasn't.
Oh,
3
good
weeks
luck
ago
on
when you
that.
played them. Okay, so you go against the New York Giants, which is practically a bye week. Then after that, you go against the Green Bay Packers without Aaron Rodgers, and then this past week you go against a Las Vegas Raiders squad. Do we have to? We don't even need to regurgitate what they've been through from John Gruden.
Were the Raiders not a good team all year? Have the Raiders not been a good team?
No, I'm saying over the last 3 weeks because of all that they've gone through, all the turmoil.
Oh, so
at the
you're looking at the last 3 weeks. What happened 2 weeks ago with Dallas? Oh, so if the last 3 weeks we don't look at that one?
Well, no.
Oh,
I'm just saying
the Broncos.
they laid an egg. They laid an egg, which made me very. They laid an egg, which made me very, very happy. I mean, I'm not upset
about it. So we look at the last 3 weeks. Don't look at one team. Look at both teams.
Well, I'm looking at both teams, and I'm saying outside of that, what did the Dallas Cowboys do since opening night against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? They've been winning every game. It's the only game they've lost in 8 weeks.
I agree. And they're a really good team. But when you look at last week, the way the Kansas City Chiefs played, if they consistently play like that and they stay healthy, that is a team that can beat anybody. They have too much firepower. They have a great offensive mind in Andy Reid. The defense looked much improved, and Patrick stopped forcing it, and he just started taking what the defense giving him. I know that's cliche, but he did it. It opened up everything, and that is a dynamic football team. And by the way, he threw for 405 tutties. That's ridiculous, Stephen A. He could.
All right, so I'm going to stop it right there. Here's what I'm going to say about that now. And interesting, and Pat Mahomes in Kansas City did play a great game last week against the Raiders that have been going through a whole lot of stuff. But let's go ahead and be clear here. The defense that Kansas City was facing, you're talking about the Raiders that are 26 in scoring defense. They're not good. They're not good. They are, against the pass, 25th. Yeah. Against rushing, 27th. So you go through and say, well, Pat Mahomes, it wasn't like he was playing, a defense that's ranked 10th in scoring defense. It's a defense ranked 26. It's a defense that's given up more points than 25 other teams. So I don't know that is necessarily the sounding board that everything is cured now for Kansas City. Like I said, Kansas City, they did damage. They looked great against the Raiders. But as you look at the Raiders that they're losing their coach, losing their wide receiver to drunk driving, and then losing one of their top picks in the secondary to just being an idiot. I don't know that is everything is great, because you put into there beating the Giants. But we'll find out on Sunday where we really sit. And I'm going to go out here because I've got leaves to get out of the way. We got to start getting the outdoor man cave and stuff together. I got to go out and get some more chicken wings and stuff like that. That's right, Philly. We got to get more chicken wings and get ready for tomorrow's game. I hope you all join us. We are going to have a ball, and we're going to try and party like it's 1995.